Let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest. Have you ever exploded at someone over something stupid, and then immediately thought, why the hell did I just do that? Or maybe you didn't explode, you shut down. You stewed in silence. You replayed the moment in your head 1,000 times, wishing you'd said something smarter, cooler, more in control. What if I told you that you could stop that cycle starting today? What if I told you that there's a secret rooted in neuroscience, habit formation, and emotional awareness that could make you immune to being triggered, irritated, or angry again? Yeah, sounds crazy. But that's what we're diving into, and I promise you, this isn't woo, this is science backed, this is practical, this is what the most emotionally powerful people on earth do, and by the end of this video, it's what you'll be doing too. So stay with me, because what you're about to learn could save your relationships, your sanity, and your time. Let's go. Let's talk about one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life, realizing that you are not your emotions. This may sound simple, even obvious, but most people don't live like it. When you get angry, frustrated, or bothered, it often feels like that emotion is who you are in that moment. You say things like, I am angry, or I am upset, as if your entire identity has fused with the feeling. But here's the truth. Your emotions are just signals, not definitions. They're momentary chemical reactions in the brain and body designed to alert you to something happening in your environment or within yourself. That's it. They are not permanent, and they definitely are not you. Imagine this. You're driving to work, running a few minutes late, and someone cuts you off. Instantly, your body tightens. Your jaw clenches. Your heart rate spikes. That's your fight or flight system kicking in. Your brain, wired to detect threats, is screaming, you're not safe. This person disrespected you. So what do? Maybe you yell, or slam the steering wheel, or replay the moment in your head for the next 20 minutes. But if you could zoom out and observe what's really happening, you'd see a predictable cycle. A stimulus triggers a physical reaction, which becomes an emotional state, which leads to a behavioral response. And the key to breaking that loop is the realization that the emotion isn't you. It's just something passing through you. When you start to separate yourself from your emotions, you create space, and in that space, you regain choice. You're no longer on autopilot. You don't have to yell. You don't have to dwell. You can pause, notice the feeling, name it. I feel angry right now, and then choose what happens next. That alone is a game changer. Because once you stop identifying with the emotion, you stop feeding it with your thoughts, your energy, and your attention. You can let it move through you like a wave instead of letting it pull you under. This is the foundation of emotional freedom. It doesn't mean you never feel angry again. It means when you do, you don't let it hijack your identity. You recognize that emotions are messengers. They bring you information, but they don't get to dictate your behavior. They don't get to define your character. And when you truly embody that mindset, you step into an entirely different kind of power. There is a 5-second window that exists between every trigger and your reaction. And what you do in that tiny, often overlooked space determines everything. Most people go their entire lives reacting impulsively to the world around them, snapping at their partner, firing off a rude email, slamming a door, because they've never been taught that they have a choice. But the brain is not hardwired for reactivity. It's hardwired for survival, and survival doesn't always mean peace or clarity. It often means defaulting to the emotional patterns we've learned since childhood. That's where the 5-second rule comes in. When something or someone makes you angry, your brain is flooded with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart rate increases, your body tenses, and your mind narrows its focus to a single point, the perceived threat. But that first wave of emotional intensity only lasts for a few seconds. If you can interrupt the automatic reaction before your brain locks in a behavior, you can completely redirect the outcome. It's not about denying how you feel. It's about gaining control over what you do with those feelings. Counting backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, sounds too simple to work. But it's exactly that simplicity that makes it so effective. When you count backwards, you're activating the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision, making, logic, and impulse control. You're literally shifting gears from emotional reaction to conscious response. That 5-second countdown becomes a mental cue that tells your body, "We're not doing this the old way." You interrupt the emotional spiral, stop the fight or flight reaction in its tracks, and create a brief pause in the chaos. In that pause, you take back your power. You remember that you don't have to match the energy of the situation. You can choose to breathe, to redirect your focus, to walk away if needed, or to respond in a way that's calm, intentional, and aligned with who you actually want to be. The more you practice this, the more automatic it becomes. You start to catch yourself before you snap, before you stew, before you spiral. And over time, you build an internal muscle of self-control that shows up not just in moments of anger, but in every area of life: conversations, decisions, conflicts, and relationships. The real reason you get triggered isn't because of what someone said or did. It's not the tone of their voice, the words they used, or even the situation itself. It's what their behavior awakens in you. Triggers are rarely about the present moment. They are emotional echoes from the past. Maybe someone interrupts you and it sparks irritation, but the deeper feeling is that you don't feel heard, which ties back to moments in your life where your voice didn't matter. Maybe your partner forgets something important, and you explode, not because of the mistake, but because it taps into an old belief that you're not valued. Every emotional trigger is your brain's way of saying, "There's unresolved stuff here." When you react without awareness, you miss the chance to understand yourself. But when you get curious instead of defensive, everything starts to shift. Here's what's really happening when you're triggered. Your nervous system detects a perceived threat, often based on past emotional experiences. Your brain goes on autopilot, launching a survival response, not because the situation is dangerous, but because it feels similar to one that was. And unless you recognize that internal flare-up for what it is, you'll lash out, shut down, or self-sabotage without understanding why. The truth is, the world will always be full of people who act carelessly, speak harshly, or disappoint you. But their behavior isn't in your control. Your reaction is. And the moment you take ownership of your triggers instead of blaming others for activating them, you unlock real emotional freedom. You stop waiting for people to behave better, and you start showing up stronger. Because once you realize that the trigger is about you, not them, you can actually do something about it. When you feel anger rise or stress take over, there's a tool available to you in real time, and it's not complicated or external. It's your own voice. Self-coaching is one of the most powerful ways to redirect your emotions and regain control in the heat of the moment. Instead of letting your feelings hijack your brain, you interrupt the cycle by asking yourself one simple question: what's really going on here? That question disrupts the emotional narrative that's running on autopilot. It shifts your brain out of fight or flight mode and into awareness, and when you ask it with genuine curiosity, not judgment, you start to uncover what's beneath the surface. You might realize you're not actually angry, you're overwhelmed or scared or disappointed. You begin to see that your emotional reactions are often masking deeper needs or fears. That insight gives you clarity, and with clarity comes choice. When you coach yourself in real time, you're not trying to suppress your emotions. You're learning to understand them. You're building a relationship with your inner world. Instead of reacting blindly, you start responding thoughtfully. You pause, you breathe, you check in. You might say to yourself, I'm feeling disrespected right now, and that's why I want to lash out. But is that the story I want to believe? Is that the version of me I want to act from? That moment of self-inquiry is where transformation happens. Because emotions thrive in silence and speed, but they dissolve in presence and reflection. The more you practice self-coaching, the more resilient you become. You stop giving away your peace to every inconvenience, every snide comment, every triggering moment. You become your own anchor, your own regulator, and that ability to meet your emotions with calm authority is what separates reactive people from powerful people. Your body knows you're angry before your brain does. That's because emotions don't start in the mind, they start in the body. When something upsets you, your nervous system immediately reacts. Your muscles tense, your jaw tightens, your chest gets heavy, your breathing changes. These physical cues are the early warning signs that you're about to get emotionally hijacked. And if you learn to recognize them, you can interrupt the pattern before it spirals. You don't have to sit there stewing in it. You can use your body to calm your body. That might sound strange, but it works faster than any pep talk or logical reasoning. The moment you notice those signals, take action. Physically, shake out your arms. Roll your shoulders. Take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale slowly. Splash cold water on your face or hold something cold in your hands. These physical shifts activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body responsible for calm and recovery. It's like hitting the brakes on a speeding car. Movement, breath, and temperature all have a direct line to your emotional state. Your mind might still be spinning, but once your body starts to relax, your brain gets the message, we're safe. And when your body feels safe, your emotions follow. You think more clearly, you stop catastrophizing, you stop taking things personally. This is especially important in high-stress moments, arguments, traffic, deadlines, where logic alone isn't enough to calm you down. Because your brain might know you're overreacting, but if your body is still in panic mode, it won't matter. So instead of trying to think your way out of anger, move through it physically. Get up. Stretch, walk, breathe deeply, release tension. That's how you reset your internal state and regain control from the inside out. The people who bother you the most are often your greatest teachers. Not because they're right or wise or even remotely kind, but because they trigger parts of you that still need healing. Every time someone annoys you, disrespects you, or pushes your buttons, there's an opportunity hidden underneath the discomfort. That opportunity is self-awareness. It's a mirror being held up to you, showing you what still hurts, what you still believe about yourself, or what boundaries you haven't yet built. You might think it's about them, their behavior, their tone, their attitude, but if it keeps getting under your skin, it's about something inside you that hasn't been resolved. Maybe you grew up around criticism, so now even light feedback makes you feel attacked. Maybe. So here's the truth. You're never going to live in a world where people stop being rude, careless, or triggering. You can't control traffic, partners, bosses, strangers, or situations that go sideways. But you can control you. You can take your power back by separating your identity from your emotions, by using the 5-second pause to interrupt reactivity, by getting curious about your triggers instead of owned by them. You can shift your entire reality simply by recognizing that your response is your responsibility and your freedom. This isn't about becoming emotionless or unshakable like a robot. It's about being conscious. It's about learning to work with your brain and your body instead of being ruled by them. It's about moving through life with more peace, more patience, and a whole lot more power. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. So, the next time you feel that surge of anger, that twitch of annoyance, that flash of stress, you'll remember this moment. You'll pause, you'll breathe, you'll create space, and in that space, you'll choose who you want to be. And that right there, That's how you never get angry or bothered again. Not because those emotions never show up, but because they no longer control you. You're not at the mercy of the world. You're the one in charge now. Own that power, live from that place, and watch your life change.